Welcome to the podcast. Have a seat. Lay your feet up and take a beat. Getting your attention because I want to catch them all. Digging what you got like I'm playing volleyball. Got me all excited that we're about to start. Get your questions out because it's time to question Mark.
Welcome everybody to the Question Mark podcast, where we have more questions than answers. Tonight, I am your host, Mark Lee. And in our guest seat tonight, we have Mr. Austin Boucher. As always, in the moderator seat, we do have Maymays. And any questions or comments will be filtered through our moderator. So if you do have any questions, we'll go ahead and hear this. Okay. If you have any questions. And if we have any comments, we'll hear this.
Hey, listen.
So go ahead and leave anything you guys have for me, for Austin, in the chat. And then we'll go ahead and get to it. So right now, we're going to go ahead and jump into our icebreaker. So we are sticking with the rapid fire questioning.
Fantastic.
So there's no time limit, but answer as fast as possible.
All right. Let's do it.
So you ready?
Yep.
All right. So checks or stripes?
Gonna go with checks.
Ooh, okay. Favorite sport?
Football.
What is your grail shoe?
Behind me, the Laneys. Jordan 1 Laneys.
Favorite Disney movie?
OG Disney movie, Hercules, kind of newer Cars.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite candy?
Gobstoppers.
TV shows or movies?
Movies.
Favorite restaurant?
Probably have to say P.F. Chang's.
Okay. Would you rather be a legit checker or a reseller?
I've been a reseller, so legit checker.
Okay. You're on death row. What's your last meal?
A whole cheesecake.
You could have one superpower. What is it?
Probably, I'd say super strength.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Okay. Well, those were the 10 quick fire questions.
All right.
Let's get into it a little bit. You said on your on death row, your last meal would be a whole cheesecake.
Yeah.
That's your favorite. Would that's your favorite dessert?
Yeah, hands down. Just an original, good old fashioned cheesecake. No nothing, no chocolate, no caramel, just straight classic cheesecake.
In your opinion, who makes the best cheesecake?
The Marie Callender's one is pretty fire that you can get from them, but Cheesecake Factory is hard to beat.
Okay.
But, I'm still young. There's other cheesecakes to try. So right now, Cheesecake Factory's got the lead for me.
Okay. And for your superpower, why super strength?
I don't know. I think because I've always worked with my hand, being in heating and air and construction, just to be able to lift anything would be great.
Oh, okay. And you said you were a reseller before.
Yeah, so kind of nothing special, just, during the pandemic and, shoes that I would hit on that I wouldn't really want for myself, I would resell.
Oh, okay. So you never dove into actual buying in bulk?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't have the funds for that. I just, if I hit one, great, and I try and, I think one time I hit a pair of Jordan 5. I think they're still going for $700-800, and I was actually, that's what got me addicted is I got them for $200 and I sold them for $780 to a guy out in North Carolina. So
nice.
And you never know who you're gonna meet.
Yeah,
doing that. So it was cool.
Now, are you able to legit check?
Kind of. I'm not.
You're not confident, but you
not confident in it, but I could spot some fakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sure. The most tells on.
Yeah, kind of, the star marks on there, the black light, taking the sole out of the shoe, kind of just, comparing it. Some of these fakes are pretty bad.
Yeah.
The checks are off, the material, the weight, the boxes, there's little things to look for on the box too.
Some of the fakes are actually really good though too.
Oh yeah. I have a buddy that you also know that's got a couple Fugazi pairs that look real. I wouldn't be able to tell, walking, instead of paying $10,000 for them, you get a pair for $150 on Wish, and to the average eye, 95% of people are going to think they're legit.
Yeah, exactly.
So what does it matter? So
yeah, you just don't take them to any Dunk Exchange or something.
No, don't take them into the sneaker shops.
So now you're actually into checks and stripes, right?
Yep.
And you said checks over stripes.
And if we're referring to shoes, I'm into both. If we're referring to patterns, checks.
Oh, okay.
I'm not much of a stripe guy, but when it comes to shoes, I'm checks and stripes all day long.
I see.
I don't discriminate.
All right, so let's get into knowing about you more. So let's go. How old are you?
29.
And where did you graduate from?
I graduated from Chaparral High School, class of 2011.
Oh, okay. And Chaparral is in Marietta?
Temecula. So down the hill, Winchester, right down the street from the mall, Outback Steakhouse. It's right there.
Oh, okay. Are you an only child?
No, I have a 25-year-old brother.
Okay, so you're older.
Yes.
Okay. Now, right now you live in.
It's considered Marietta.
Well, we'll say Marietta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Technically, by my zip code, it's 92563.
Yeah, that's a big zip code, so
exactly.
We don't want to narrow it down.
No.
But have you lived in other places before that?
I've lived in. You'll find it funny. I've lived in either Winchester or Marietta.
Really?
I've never technically lived in Temecula and anywhere else.
Okay.
I've always lived on top of that hill, except for the 3 years I lived at those condos on Marietta Hot Springs, kind of behind the Albertsons.
Okay.
Right there. But always Marietta, 92563 or Winchester, 92596 for 29 years.
Oh, okay. So you never lived anywhere out of state or anything. So you're born and raised in this area.
Yep.
Okay. Any I know you can't really change, where you grew up, but if you could have lived in a different place, where would you? Do you know if there's a place you would actually want to stay for a few years?
Probably back as a kid, not really. Like now, of course, with the traffic and being older and stuff, there's plenty of places I'd rather live. But, back then it was everywhere I went, I moved. It was such a good group of friends. Everything was so safe. The community was just great. So I never really thought about it. But, if there was somewhere, I'd want to go, I mean, I'd say Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Florida, or I've been on vacation to Hawaii a couple of times. I mean, everybody says Hawaii until you live there. I mean, I don't know how great it is, but every time I'm there, man,
I heard it's expensive.
Oh, I believe it. Well, I always say if you live in California, you can make it everywhere, but maybe not Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I think besides us and probably New York.
Yeah,
they're like probably the most expensive.
Yeah, I've no desire for New York, East Coast. I love the cold. I don't like the heat, but not really any desire to live back east.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, you are married.
Correct.
With a kid and a kid on the way.
Yes.
So, what's it like? What's it like knowing Drew beat you to 2 kids?
Anyway, for that guy to get some kind of advantage over me, I'm just, very happy for them.
Yeah,
they've always wanted kids, so for them to have, 2 is great. But I always will have the first kid.
Exactly.
Before, but love them.
Yeah, and if you guys didn't know, I actually met Austin through Drew. I've actually never met him until today physically. But I was mentioning this to you before. Your name is very unique. Have you ever met any other Bouchers?
No, I've seen a couple athletes. They spell it a little different.
Yeah.
It's pronounced the same. It just has instead of EY, it's ER.
Yeah.
And it's said the same, but no, I've never met anybody with the same last name.
Yeah. So I actually kind of like visited my brain and I was just like, why does this name seem so familiar? And as everybody knows who watches the podcast, I do play Pokemon Go. And that's actually, we actually talked a bit through the band app.
Oh, see, I knew the username looked familiar. Yeah. Okay. So the band app.
Yeah. And this is what's funny is we've done a couple trades before.
I knew it at the Stater Brothers parking lot. That had to have been you. Yeah. Okay.
And I think I also met you outside
my parents' house.
Yeah.
That was you. So you're the one I would give all my shinies to,
basically,
and you would fill my Pokédex. That was you. Okay. Well,
yes,
that's a small world.
Yeah, that's what's funny. I was like, this can't be another Austin Boucher,
right?
So I actually went back into like all traded Pokemon that I received. And I was like, I have stuff from Boucher 19.
That's me. That's crazy.
And it's funny because we're in the area. And there's even though like people don't know, there's a lot of Pokemon Go players still.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And for us to have met before even Drew mentioned you, it's just like you said, small world.
Very small world. Yeah. Did we ever raid together at all?
I think we invited. I don't know.
Well, did you ever come to French Valley or any of that for any of the raids?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so we didn't raid together.
Yeah, but we did a bunch of trades that we.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think I remember you when we did the trade in the parking lot at Sabres. I think that's when you were leaving to go to Pokemon Fest.
Oh.
You were going. It was that year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was 2019.
Yep, 2019.
Yeah, because I did that all because I was looking forward to 2020 Pokemon Go Fest. That's when the pandemic hit.
Right.
So they make it global, which is that's their cash cow basically. And even this year they made it global and people actually didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah, there's a bunch of hate on it because of the rates and whatnot.
Okay.
But like I said, people play Pokemon Go differently.
Yeah.
So
that's funny. Well, thanks for filling my deck.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So tell me a little bit about something you brought for the shelf. So if you guys don't know, I actually got this suggestion from Mondo Wick, and Armando Wick. He suggested that the guests bring something for the shelf behind them, and so Austin brought a pair of Dunks. And what Dunks are these?
So these are the actually Jordan 1 High Laneys. So I always call them the Jordan 1 LA Rams. I'm a big football guy.
Okay.
LA Rams diehard fan. Never put two and two together that these were actually Michael Jordan's high school colors. Laney High School, that's where he went to high school. So putting two and two together, I always just thought, well, hey, I always wear these colors on game day anyways. These shoes are perfect for whatever fit on Sunday. You know, it turns out those were his high school colors. But, you know, I have some grails, but they're, you know, my most treasured pair, I should say, most personal pair to me.
And man, I still see from here, I still see the stars.
Mm-hmm.
That means you walked very carefully in those shoes.
Yeah, I bought those I bought them used from a sneaker shop.
Really?
Gentleman had them on consignment. You know, they were listed at a price, and then, you know, store owner called him, said, what's the lowest she'll take? They've been sitting here for a while, and it's a deal I couldn't pass up, so had to get them.
Now, how does consignment work?
So, sneaker stores, for example, they usually sell dead stock shoes, right? Mm-hmm. But a way for them to kind of make a little bit of extra money is you do consignment. So if I brought those in for $500, and that's what I wanted for them, if they take a small percentage based on the store, they make their own rate. So you agree upon that. So, you know, if they take 10%, they take 50, I'd get 450 for them.
Okay.
So you're consigning them, the store is displaying them, putting them on their shelves, you're renting their shelf space essentially because you're paying them money.
Until they sell it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, yeah, those were on consignment from a gentleman. So,
okay, I never knew how that worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what do you do for work right now?
So I do heating and air conditioning. I'm actually sell heating and air conditioning. I'm a comfort advisor. Been doing that since I was 16. Kind of started from the ground up. My dad has his own company, and he's kind of the guru, I call him, of heating and air. So he brought me up through the industry, you know, learned everything the right way to be able to actually sell it to people in home. You know, first you install it, then you know how to fix them, then you can sell them. This is kind of what I believe.
Now, is this heating and air? Yes. Is a trade, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
It is a trade. So they actually have schooling for it. I was kind of just in person, like I said, learning from my dad, but there's actually colleges and some companies will pay you to go to learn, you know, and there's, you know, all kinds of certificates, certs you can get, you know, for service, mostly service, you know, fixing ACs, but it's the more you know, the more you make.
Yeah,
definitely.
But the thing about trades is education isn't needed. In your opinion, is there something an education would offer more than just being in the field and doing it?
I mean, an education in HVAC can land you more of managerial roles, running installation crews, running service crews, being IT, technical support on the phone. Takes a lot of extensive knowledge.
I see.
You know, I know how to install a system. I know how to fix a system, but there's guys that know all kinds of stuff that I don't know everything, but I know, you know, how to sell.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, you know, I can go into a homeowner's house, listen to what they need, you know, suggest what they need, you know, examine everything and, you know, lay it out there for them. But there's so many different avenues where you don't have to be out there installing.
Yeah.
You don't have to be working with your hands.
Okay.
You could be doing, you know, airflow calculations. You know, you could become a HERS rater for the state of California, where you go actually in new homes before people buy the homes and run all your tests to make sure the house it was done right.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many different avenues.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, the industry's ever changing.
So now, what was your first job?
So my first job, I was, I guess, a stock boy customer service at Office Depot in Temecula.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so after that, is the HVAC
So
the next thing, or what?
So
led
when I
up to
was 16, I would do light HVAC. 17, then I got my first real job at Office Depot, and then I went to school. I took a gap year. A lot of my friends were class of 2012, so they were always a year younger than me. So I took kind of a gap year while they were still seniors in high school and worked, and then they all went their respective ways to college, and then I went to community college to be a psychiatrist. I was like, what was I trying to say there? But, you know, I started to notice after 2 years, the bank account getting smaller and smaller. And I was like, you know, I was always good in school.
Yeah.
But going forward, I was like, I have to put in a lot. I think this isn't going to be for me.
Yeah.
So I went back to, you know, working the trades and, you know, making good money. So when you have the money in the account, you know, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
So
It definitely kind of like points in the directions like, hey, I'm making money here.
right.
Why not just stick with it?
Yeah. It's when you see the bank account start to stack up, you're like,
Exactly.
okay, because my parents, you know, they helped me with college and stuff, but it was either to live in their house. It was either you need to work or you need to go to college.
Yeah.
We'll support you either way you go. So, you know, they would pay for everything, but not having that income to be able to do, I couldn't work and do college.
Yeah.
My brain, I can't do that. I have to do one or the other.
That I think whoever does that, you know, more power to them.
I agree.
Because you're going to this, you know, job where you're basically in it to make money to pay for college.
Yes.
So you're basically willing to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So you're working till you're tired, and then you still got to go home and study.
Right.
So that, you know, more power to those people that can do that.
Oh, 100%.
So I'd probably be in the same boat where it's just like I can't work and I can't go to school at the same time. I hate school though, so I would never do that.
Right.
Now, let's see. Where am I at? All right, so it was Office Depot, then schooling, then HVAC?
Yeah, so it was light HVAC, Office Depot, school for 2 years, then back to HVAC full time.
Okay.
For the last probably 9 years.
Okay, and now this is kind of going into the thought process questions that I've had. Is that what you plan to do for the rest of your career?
Going forward?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, being in the position I'm in right now, selling it's good because I get to kind of do what I've always wanted to do in the sense of I like to be around people. So being at Office Depot, a lot of people, it's a drag. For me, I love people. I can strike a conversation with anyone. I love helping people. Like, that's what I love to do. So in a way, maybe not HVAC was the dream, but my dream was always to be with people, help people. Anything to do with people, I was always all for it. So being able to go in different homes every day, meet new people, you know, sell to them the product. I don't, you know, obviously get every job, but that's kind of what I've always wanted to do. So in a way, I'm getting what I always wanted to do, interacting with people.
Yeah. And I think I always say I'd be a bad salesman just because I'd have to 100% believe in the product that I sell.
Okay.
You know, and it's tough for me to believe in something 100% all the time because there is always going to be a better product.
Yeah.
You know, there's pros and cons to every product.
Yep.
So knowing that, say being in an industry where you know that information, I'd be like, well, there's this one thing here that we don't sell.
I have those customers, you know, they go online, they read the reviews, and I kind of let them know that, you know, what products we offer. There's going to be reviews. This is kind of our top product. We are partnered with Costco. So when people hear that, they're like, okay, we trust Costco.
Yeah.
Costco doesn't put.
Damn, you got Costco's name behind you guys.
Yeah, we do. And that's a big deal because you mess up a couple times, you're out of there. You don't perform, Costco, you're out.
Yeah.
So any vendors you have in Costco that you see when you're checking out down that aisle, not always saying they're, good reputable companies, but in Costco's eyes, they are, because they have to be to stay in Costco.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are firm believers in Costco. They trust Costco. They're religious about Costco. If Costco's saying this guy is who we back for HVAC, we don't care about the price or the brand. We want them type thing. So
okay. Now, you said you were also into sports.
yes.
Did you do sports when you were in high school, middle school?
Yeah, so I've always done I've always played football, light basketball. A lot of my really close friends were always soccer players.
Okay.
So, but yeah, mostly football. But I loved, like I said, growing up in the neighborhood, we'd play everything: street hockey, soccer, basketball, baseball, you name it. But I've just, since I was a kid, it's, my wife kills me on Sundays, but I'm just, that's it for me. I can't get enough. I watch golf, Olympics, everything. I just can't get enough of sports.
You just like watching competition.
Yeah, people would say I'm competitive. I'm very competitive, but I've learned to kind of control it, dial it back,
I see.
But yeah, I love, sports, being competitive.
Now, what's your favorite sport to do, and what's your favorite sport to watch?
So my favorite sport to do is golf.
Oh, okay.
I love playing golf. I'm not that great at it. And I love watching football. That's been since I was a kid. I gravitated to football and baseball, but playing definitely golf.
Okay. And what are your favorite teams for each major sport?
So, football, I am a LA Rams fan. Baseball, St. Louis Cardinals and San Diego Padres. Basketball, I'm a Lakers fan. Hockey, Ducks. Favorite golfer, Tiger Woods. I could go down and, tennis. I have favorites. I have teams for anything. European soccer, American soccer, so.
Now, has any of those favorites changed over, the span of your life?
So, growing up, from an early age, my whole family was always San Diego Charger fans, San Diego Padres. So, I gravitated to the Padres a lot. Never the Chargers. I don't know what it was. I just never clicked. So I picked my own team when I was 6.
Yeah.
I picked the St. Louis Rams. They were in St. Louis at the time. And then that's how I discovered for baseball the Cardinals. They were also in St. Louis. I said, hey, this is my football team. I'm going to back the baseball team that's there too, but still go for the Padres.
Okay.
So for me, when the Rams moved back to LA, a lot of people in St. Louis were upset, but I live in California. This is a dream come true. My team's coming home.
Yeah.
So for me, it was,
So, going into that, how did the Rams end up in St. Louis in the first place?
So when they were originally in LA, the team actually went up for sale, and then the owner who bought them decided to kind of, when you relocate a franchise to a city that doesn't have a team, for example, Las Vegas has a hockey team now. These owners, when they purchase teams, they see, okay, where's the market the best? So, LA it's Hollywood, it's a great market, but the opportunity to go to a new city, go to a new state is very appealing to these new owners. So when they went there and then they built a dome, which was kind of unheard of for football, an indoor arena, it kind of blew through the roof. And then as we got into the later 2000s, when they moved back to LA, the owners, we didn't have a team here in LA. We had the Raiders, we had the Rams back in the day, but the market, again, was craving that big sports team. So obviously the owner, it's all about the dollar signs. When it comes to relocating, it's all about the money.
And that's why LA has a couple teams, right?
So we have the Rams, we have the Chargers, unfortunately. I still believe they should be in San Diego.
I still think so too. I'd still support them if they were in San Diego.
Yeah, that's all my dad is. My dad still supports them. won't buy any of the merchandise because he doesn't like ownership.
Mm-hmm.
So won't put money in the team's pocket.
Yeah.
But he still supports his team.
No, I was done with them when they moved to LA.
He was too, and he slowly. I've got him on the. I'm an Oregon Ducks guy, so I got him on the Justin Herbert bandwagon. So he's coming around. He loves the players, but yeah, ownership. He lived in San Diego his whole life growing up, so for him, that's a punch in the gut. Your team just picks up and
goes
to LA. You think about that rivalry, San Diego, LA with baseball. Then your team goes and moves up to LA. I mean, it's just
it sucks.
It does. Yeah.
Now, oh man, I had the question. We'll just cut this out.
Bruh.
Now, do we have any questions? I don't see the chat there.
I don't see it either. That's why I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well, I'm going to take a few seconds.
Okay.
And this is just, we'll cut this out.
Okay.
All right, we'll cut that. All right, so you said you're into music as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you collect records or anything?
No, nothing like that. Nothing. I don't play or collect or anything like that. Just love music in general.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What types of your favorite music?
So 70s, 80s, rock, pop.
You say 70s and 80s. What would that be?
So we're with rock. Def Leppard,
Okay.
Aerosmith, Billy Idol, REO Speedwagon, Styx, anything you can think of that was, hair metal bands, Quiet Riot, Black Sabbath, anything from the good old days, I'm for it.
Okay.
And being born in the 90s too, but I feel like music has progressively not the same.
Oh yeah, it's not. And people will always say that, you'll have those hardcore people like, yeah, music in the 70s or 60s, they'll pick a decade.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, that's when music was so pure.
Yes. Yes.
So there's a bunch of these purists.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so funny thinking, music before that. There was music before that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
They just gravitate towards a decade and they just stick with it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. So we'll get into the kind of deep questions.
Let's do it.
Going in. So what is your definition of success?
For me, being able to support my family, to better my kids' future, to be able to, you're always working, you're always, stressed, but to be able to put my head on the pillow at night and be happy and have my family taken care of, have my family happy, that's the number one goal for me. So being successful, to me, I don't think it's about the dollar signs. I think living a happy, healthy life, setting your kids up for success, that's success to me.
All right. Now, if you had enough money to do what you love, what would your profession be?
I think either I'd probably be a sportscaster, kind of do what we're doing here on the highest level as far as sports.
Yeah.
Or, like I said, maybe finish schooling and be a psychiatrist, helping people, because God knows I have, stuff that goes on in my life, and to be able to talk to people and help them work through that is such a gratifying feeling. So I think maybe go back to school, finish that, become my own, like private psychiatrist, having clientele, or, being higher up in the sports industry.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what kind of sports would you cover? All sports?
Whatever they want.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Whether it's on location, podcasts, Sports Center, anything, honestly.
Have you ever tried dipping your toe into something like that?
I haven't.
Okay. Because like say something like this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sports podcasts out there at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
but there's just a lot of podcasts at the moment. So
There is.
it is tough to get into, getting people to listen to it because there's so many great ones.
Of course. And for me, is one of my goals is to, maybe not as elaborate as what you have here, is to be able to have my own podcast, to, whether it gets 1 view or 1 million views, just to be able to sit down with friends, family, strangers, and kind of do what you're doing, hear their life stories, and just sit there for an hour, 2 hours, and just talk.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's exactly what it's just. I always say people are raised differently, and people have so many different experiences that people can learn from. You know, just like when I ask, like, what is the definition of success? People's perspective on that is so different. You know, people can be like, it's money. I want money, or I just want enough. And some people just like happiness. Because like they say, money can't buy happiness. Yeah, it helps, but I mean, you also get they say more money, more problems. So
there's a saying. I don't know. Is there cursing on this podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's a movie called Boiler Room with Ben Affleck, and his saying is, anyone that tells you money can't buy happiness isn't fucking happy.
Yeah.
So, money, I'm torn, money, it can't, I don't think it can buy you long-term happiness. It can buy you in the moment happiness.
Yes.
But you could have all the money in the world and be miserable.
Exactly. I mean, it's crazy how we hear about these celebrities having depression. You would think, they have money to do whatever they want, right?
Right.
But once they get that money, they're just, besides their craft, they're like empty inside sometimes. So it's just like, what can fill that sense of being, sense of accomplishment,
right?
Because just for example, we'll take his name, the comedian Robin Williams.
Yeah,
like great, comedian and great movies he's made, but took his life to depression because money wasn't everything.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if he was on drugs or anything.
I don't know,
but it's just it's crazy to hear that where these people that have money and just kind of, I don't want to say waste it, but it goes into waste because it's not exactly making them happy.
Right. And I mean, I get it. I've been, I suffer from depression, anxiety. I've been to the lowest of lows, but what's gotten me out of it is my family, my wife, my kids, not money.
Yeah.
There was never a moment where I was like,
if I buy these shoes, I'm going to be good.
If I have this much money and we're not tight this month, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
It comes at the most random moments. I could be at Disneyland, and if it hits, it hits.
Yeah.
And you're just like, whoa. But having that support system, having my kids, my wife, money's not going to change that. Having that pulls you out of that.
Yeah.
So
your connections,
yes.
Your relationships. Yeah. Those are I think those are stuff money can't buy.
Stop the cap.
Kidding.
Whoa. Was that the wrong button or?
I pressed the wrong button. I'm sorry.
Dang. Calling us out or something.
I meant to push this one.
There we go.
All right. So, last question on the serious part. Are you where you thought you'd be at by now?
Yes.
Yes?
Mm-hmm. I knew when I was a senior in high school, they said, what do you want to be? Not necessarily a job. Where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? I said, I see myself as a husband and I see myself as a father. That's my 2 goals in life. Is I knew at a young age I want to be married. I want to have kids. Growing up,
that's very mature of you as a high school.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, seeing the kind of relationship that my parents had, it always instilled in me. I always wanted that. I saw, when my friends were out doing stuff they weren't supposed to, on a Friday night, I'd be home with mom and dad, watching movies, hanging out, going out. I mean, how cool is that, going out with your parents or just chilling with your parents? But to me, that was it. I was content with that. So seeing the model they kind of set before me, I knew I wanted that. I wanted what they had.
Yeah.
And for me, being having my brother who's 25, actually, he has special needs. So he is 25, but he's that of a 1-year-old. Love him no different, but seeing my parents go through that, raising him, raising me, seeing how strong their foundation was as a couple, as a mom and a dad, I was like, that's what I want. Yeah. I want to be a husband. I want to be a father. Everything else,
And that's something high school cannot teach.
No, and I'm trying to remember what I actually learned from high school. I learned more just being on break, being on lunch, after school activities, sports, than actually in the classroom. Yeah. Kind of learning how to be a human being, be a man, have a relationship, have your heart broken, have trust be broken. These stuff that you don't learn in the classroom, you learn from experience with other people. So for me, high school, I don't remember what I learned in U.S. history.
No, that's what's funny. Like, there's a lot of things that high schools can, like, adapt to teaching kids about real life, I mean, especially just, like, dealing with their emotions.
Right. And when I went to college, I was shell-shocked because they said they prepared you for college. No, those professors are getting paid whether you're there or not. I think it was a math class I was taking. The first thing he said is, he's like, I don't give a shit if you're here or not. I'm getting paid. You're here on your own dime. Yeah. This isn't free public school anymore. You either want to be here or you don't.
Exactly.
So it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for that coming from high school. So
yeah, that's what's kind of sad, knowing how our, we went through it, and the future's going to go through it. But the education system hasn't changed.
No.
In I don't know how long. I've never done that research, but imagine, like, if they added a class to help people deal with their emotions, or just something of real life. And I know they added personal finance, which, what kid's going to buy, unless you're like a TikTok star or like a e-gamer. Who where's the kid gonna buy a house?
Right.
So they teach you how to deal with your bank account and buy houses, with the APRs and whatnot.
Right.
But there should be more. I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It's just weird thing about how the school system is.
And that's what I liked about in college sociology class. To be a psychiatrist, you have to take sociology, and every week it was a different project. You had to have someone videotape you. One was stand in an elevator and face the back of the elevator and look at the back of it and have people come in, break you out of your comfort zone, different social experience. You wouldn't have got that in high school. No. It's groundbreaking stuff.
It's like teaching you to be your own person, and that's, like you said, groundbreaking stuff.
It is, especially coming. And I think too, I don't always suggest, everyone's different, but taking that kind of a gap year after high school, I think is very beneficial. Getting a job, being out there in that real world, making the money, kind of seeing what the day-to-day grind is, paying some bills. If you want something, buy it with your own money, not your parents. And then instead of jumping right from high school to college, it's kind of it's no different. It's like kind of just like a smooth transition where you get that taste of the real world kind of in between. Yeah, to kind of prepare you for what you're getting yourself into.
Oh, I feel that. Okay. That's an interesting take. Now, I would like to have you on again.
Okay.
In the future. So the next time we could do more of a movie discussion. And do you have a movie or a TV show, an episode of TV show that you'd like to discuss the next time you're on?
Well, I just saw, like I said, I'm big into the 80s, 90s, 70s, but just saw the new Top Gun.
Oh, okay.
Blew me away.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I heard a lot of good things about it. So
I didn't shave the beard. The whole TikTok thing is
Because I saw Drew the other day, and I was just like, "Did you watch Top Gun?" And he was just like, "How'd you know? For reals?"
yeah. How did we know? Top Gun made me do it. His beard's gone, but his mustache is still there.
yeah, so okay, because I actually want to see it. We're probably gonna see it sometime.
Oh,
next
you guys
week.
will love it.
So I had to see the first one. I haven't, I just saw the first one like 2 days ago.
Oh, what'd you think?
And I thought it was a good movie, very cheesy, but it was it was for the time.
Yes.
A lot of movies in that time were made like that. So I was just like, I didn't judge it too hard. I just I was in it for the story, and
Right.
so. All right, so next time we'll discuss Top Gun.
All right.
Maverick, right? It's called
Maverick,
Top Gun Maverick.
yeah.
All right. All right. So on that note, we'll go ahead and take a quick break.
All right.
And welcome back. We are back with Austin Boucher. And if you guys do want to follow him on his socials, it's at AUSTIN_BOUCHEY.
Correct.
All right.
Yep.
Austin_Boucher. So now we're gonna get to the point where you get to grill me for a bit.
Oh.
So I'll go. You got a name of your podcast? Everyone comes up with a name. If you don't, that's fine.
We go with the Dadcast.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll play you in. Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Get your questions out because it's time to question Mark.
Thank you once again for joining us on another episode of the Dadcast. I'm your host here, Austin Boucher. Yes, thank you. I forgot my own applause. I'm sorry. The guest in the hot seat today is our very own Marky Mark.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So I guess my big fascination with you is with talking to Drew is kind of hearing your volleyball background. What got you into the game? Kind of when you started. Why are you? What hooked you on the sport of volleyball?
Yeah. So volleyball was. It wasn't like I wasn't really too big on volleyball when I was younger. I was more into basketball, football. The major sports.
Right.
And I think what really got me into it was moving to Riverside, not Riverside, but Moreno Valley. And I went to church, and these church people were playing. And so I thought, oh, okay, I'll participate in their events. And, because when I lived in San Diego, we had these events that it would be volleyball competitions.
Okay.
But I never felt, there was a lot of people that were into it. Right. So I was just like, what are the chances of me getting, chosen to be one of those players to play on the team? And so I just never tried out. And so when I moved to Moreno Valley and the Riverside team, basically there wasn't really enough people. So I was like, oh, hey, there's a chance for me to be on the team.
Right.
And so I tried out for it, and, they're like, oh, okay, yeah. We'll place you in the most important position, setter.
Okay.
Ever, first year playing, because they're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's for some reason a lot of people say the setter position is very you have to have a type of finesse to it.
Okay.
Right. And a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that kind of finesse. And so, I didn't know how it was at the time, and thinking back on it, I was trash. But I was just like, I enjoy this sport because, number one, you're not really pitting yourself against another person. Basketball, you guys are colliding. Football, of course, tackling.
Right.
It's not more of a strength kind of thing. Yeah, there's a strength aspect where you have to spike the ball and there's blockers and whatnot. But that's not really, you could play smart and still score.
Right.
So I like that aspect where if I'm smarter than the other person, I can still win.
Okay.
Where it's not all muscle.
Okay.
There's some thought process to it.
And then being a setter, is there a specific what is your, I guess, description? What is your role on the court being in that setter position?
Well, they describe it as the person that will touch the ball the most.
Okay.
So basically, the other players will pass it to the setter. The setter will set it to the hitters, and basically the hitters will try and score a point.
Okay.
Usually there's up to 5 hitters on the court. There's only one setter.
Okay.
So you could have up to 5 passers on the court. Still only one setter.
One setter, okay.
So, I mean, somebody, if somebody passes real bad, somebody can set the ball instead of the setter. But the main second ball will always usually go to the setter.
Second ball.
Yeah. So the setter, like they say, is the one that touches the ball the most, that controls the game.
Okay. And then with volleyball, like I said, I'm somewhat familiar with you, but your team can only touch it 3 times.
Three
right? So
times,
you're
yes.
touching it second. So whoever's getting it after you is hitting it over the net. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I guess what would I guess Drew being as tall as he is, he's at the net, blocking, he's spiking, you're setting it for him.
Yeah. So
He's just standing there.
Standing there like the tree that he is.
Yeah. So he's, because of his height, and the height of the net, he doesn't really need to jump.
Right.
I mean, I would favor him to jump, but I think he hasn't jumped in so long that he forgot how to.
That's great.
So
Drew, he's talking crap about you.
yes, he can pass. Yes, he can hit. Yes, he can block. But there's, the thing is, like I said, there could be 2 to up to 5 hitters.
Okay.
So there's just so many options that you can work with.
And how many guys, girls are on a team?
Oh, so it's 6 on 6.
6 on 6.
Yes.
So there's another position on the court. I can never pronounce it.
Is it the passer, the libero?
Libero. So what is that? That's a whole different description
Yes.
than what you're doing.
So basically, the libero is there for serve, receive,
Okay.
and defense.
Defense. Okay.
They are usually the quickest player on the court. Back then, when the position was first made, people would put a second setter in that position.
Okay, that makes sense.
But they had to change the rules because it was unfair to have a second setter on court. Because if you had 2 setters on court, wherever the ball goes, you'll have a good set.
Makes sense.
They had to make it a little bit more difficult. So I don't know if you know the outline of a volleyball court, but there's like a 10-foot line. So if the libero does get the second ball to set it, if they pass that 10-foot line, they could only set with their forearms out. They have to pass the set.
Okay.
They can't use their hands. If they use their hands, then the attacker can't play the ball above the height of the net.
Interesting.
So they'd have to just set it over, so they can't attack it. So, but if the libero does jump over, if they jump over the 10-foot line to set it, they could overhand set it. But technically, they started from the back row.
Oh, okay.
So there's little nuances to the game that makes it a little harder.
That the average Joe that's top gunning with their shirts off on the beach may not know.
That exactly.
Volleyball is more complex than people think.
Yes, and I love that aspect of the sport. I mean, all sports have it. The deeper you go into the sport, the more you understand it.
Okay.
And it could be with anything, because I don't know jack shit about basketball or football, like the positions and what. I know what they do, but there's to make the plays, there's the nuances, because you're like, okay, this wide receiver is the one that's going to receive the ball. Like, everybody knows he's going to receive the ball.
Right.
But everybody still has to run the routes. So it's just like there's background that you're not noticing, but that as a quarterback, that's the wide receiver I'm going to pass to. So it's so interesting in that way.
Yeah.
Like I said, the deeper you go into it, the more information becomes interesting.
And then you guys usually, it's kind of like a rotation, different gyms you guys play? Is it beach? Do you guys play beach volleyball at all, or is it
So-
mostly indoors?
Yeah, so I usually play indoors because I like the 6 versus 6 aspect.
Okay,
Beach, it's 2 versus 2.
it's always 2v2. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, you could do the 3v3, the 6v6 on beach. It's just tougher. The sand is more forgiving, in the sense where if you fall to your
Right.
knees or you make a dive, it's not as tough.
I always noticed too, within high school, I feel like the libero I'd always see, because they have the different color shirt,
Yes.
right? They would always somehow be diving.
Yes.
I'd always see them on the ground because, like you said, receiving the serve, how fast it's coming in, it knocks you off your butt a little bit,
Yep.
and you have to, be able to not just let it hit you and fly wherever. I mean, they made us play in PE. I don't know if when you were in high school, when you'd be outside in the cold and
Yeah.
with the weird, not authentic volleyballs that they leave the red marks on the forearms.
And it wasn't 6-on-6. It was sometimes we would do like 20-on-20.
Right.
I was like, okay.
So that's what, it's nice to get kind of your view and appreciation of the game, because I think a lot of people think that that's just what volleyball is.
Oh yeah, I mean, not until probably a couple of years ago, it was known as a female sport.
Okay.
So it's nice to know that in Olympics, men's volleyball has been there for decades.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see some appreciation coming from some of the other major sports. I mean, you see Steph Curry, peppering with a basketball with his teammates.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's so funny that we get that type of appreciation now, where it's just like, yeah, no, it's not only a female sport. Yeah, females look better playing it, but it's not a female sport anymore.
Yeah, and especially with the Olympics, and then now NCAA, a lot of these major universities have men's volleyball teams.
Yes.
And it kind of, like you said, it was always known as a woman's sport, and then now you can actually go to college, get scholarships as a man, and play volleyball. And
Exactly.
I've seen a lot of these guys that from the NCAA actually play for our national team now, which is great. I mean, that's incredible, because like I said, as a kid watching the Olympics, it was always Carrie Walsh, Misty May.
Exactly.
That's what we grew up
Female
watching.
names.
Females,
Yeah.
and then the Dahlhausers kind of slowly transitioned the game, for men, and then now seeing those guys play in college, that is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and it's funny because I don't know if you watch anime.
Not really.
But there's a volleyball anime that got a lot of people are into anime nowadays.
Oh
And
yeah, it's big.
There's a volleyball anime that got people really into volleyball, especially males, because it's the story centers around a male team.
Okay.
So people start watching it and they're like, oh dude, I want to try this, and so it kind of bolstered a lot of male interest in volleyball, which was it was a good thing and it was a bad thing, because now you have, I don't want to say, these lower level players trying to mimic the anime, and I'm just like, come on, let's just play real. You're not going to get better unless you start from square one,
Right.
which is basically just learning the basics. But then they watch something, they want to mimic it, and it just becomes a shit show.
Yeah, I can imagine that. That's the kind of people I feel like that Big Daddy Drew spiking the ball at pretty hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Letting out some of that frustration. But well, it's good to know. I mean, like I said, I've always appreciated the sport, but getting a little background and knowledge is, you learn something new every day.
Oh yeah, I could talk volleyball like for hours, and it's such, like I said, the nuances you learn about the game, and I'm not, I always say I'm not done learning. I'm hungry for more information. I'm hungry for competition.
Right. Awesome.
All right. So is that all you got for me?
You know me. I can talk for hours. I can get into whatever you want, but yeah. I mean, I feel like if we get into Pokemon, we might not get off. So I'll give you a break there.
All right. So we'll go ahead and go to the question of the week, and this I picked out. This was actually from one of my previous guests. His name is Spider Jake on Instagram. And that's at SPIDER_JAEK, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So his question was, do you think that sports fall under a script?
Oof. You know, in a way, I kind of do. I feel like I said, it's all about money, right? It's a business. Sports, at the end of the day, it's a business. These guys are getting paid. These owners are getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
What we like to see, for example, right now, Golden State and Boston.
Yes.
That's must-see TV.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Charlotte Hornets in the NBA Finals. Ratings.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they always say, and it gets debated, that the league will do whatever it can to make the most money, to get the better teams, the most watched teams, what you want to see. So in a way, I think some sports are scripted. For example, hockey, I don't think scripted at all.
Yeah.
That's one of the sports where every year it's someone new. Baseball, always the Dodgers, always the Yankees. The big market teams are always there. Sports like hockey, more pure, it's kind of an even playing field.
Mm-hmm.
Golf, anybody can win.
Yeah.
Basketball, football, you expect. Who do you expect to be there? You even go with players for ratings. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, they're always there. Now, that's because they've worked their ass off. They're great players, but we want to see the best of the best in the playoffs, duking it out. Mm-hmm. We don't want to see. So I think, the league picks, for example, your schedule. They're the one that, so do they give certain games at home rather than away? A West Coast team playing on the East Coast in the cold, or are they mostly indoors? I think there's some script to sports, definitely, especially to make money, the most money they can.
Mm-hmm.
Some sports, like I said, more pure. UFC, boxing, combat sports. You want to see the best, and that one, you just have to be a good fighter.
Yeah.
You're on your own in that cage.
Exactly.
So,
you got nobody to back you up beside, just words of encouragement.
Right. And then on the team, like I said, with these owners, they're gazillionaires, ratings matter. So a little bit, I do think a little bit it is scripted.
Up to what point do you think it's scripted?
I think to the point of, I just think bolstering the ratings.
Okay.
I think getting
Hey, listen. Drew says Austin likes all male teams. Just wants to put it out there. And he also stated the fact that he cannot jump. This is a fact, Drew. We know this.
Yeah.
Well, I told you there was toddlers dunking on Drew in basketball when we used to play on the street. So the jumping's not a surprise. And as far as men, sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, most sports, major sports, are male dominant.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of female participation on the, other circuits.
Yeah.
But it's not as wide, like you said, it's all about ratings.
Right. So,
they're not going to put money behind something that's not going to get them the views.
Yeah. I mean, for example, right now in major sports, it's a touchy subject, but equal pay, WNBA player averaging 35 points a game, they're not making anywhere near what LeBron's making. Like I said, like you said, the ratings.
Yeah.
They're pushing the script, right? You want to put LeBron, the Lakers, you want to put that on TV. Make the most money, pay these guys. This is what they want to see. What about, kind of the smaller market teams or the women's sports?
Yeah, and honestly, I think, I heard, this might be fake news, but I heard there's more women than men in the population.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Okay. So if women want women...
And that's a fact.
If women want women to succeed and get, equal pay, why aren't they watching the female sports? Why are they also participating in watching the male sports? That's what the ratings need. Women to watch women sports.
Right.
But I feel men are more competitive.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, we tend to watch competitive games. or games in general,
Right.
because we crave competition.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, like I said, with the Olympics, going for Team USA, whether they're male or female, I used to watch, beach volleyball.
Yeah.
Carrie Walsh, Misty May.
Mm-hmm.
I get into it. I'm a competitor.
Yeah.
It don't matter if they're a girl or a guy. They're out there representing Team USA. I want them to succeed. I want them to win.
Yeah.
My competitive juices are flowing.
And honestly, I feel those ratings are coming more from men because
100%. I mean, we could go poll 100 women and ask them how many of them watch more than one WNBA game a year.
mm-hmm. Exactly.
And like I said, everyone's got different hobbies. There is that niche out there of women that, they are sports junkies, just like me. They love their football teams.
Mm-hmm.
They love basketball, baseball. Like that's their life. That's their passion. But like you said,
that's more of a minority, though.
Right. But the support, are they watching,
Mm-hmm.
The women's professional soccer league they have now? They're doing each, in cities, there's women's teams now for soccer. There's basketball teams. Are they showing that same kind of support? We're all, but that's also the industry.
Mm-hmm.
They're not putting the money behind those games. They're not putting those on the primetime slots.
Yeah.
Oh, the 3:30 game on ESPN is LA Sparks versus the Mercury, whatever they're called, women's basketball. But it's like, why aren't you giving them the primetime 7:00 Friday night spot?
Exactly.
Because LeBron's playing Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
So the industry's not doing them any favors.
Yeah, but then, I mean, like I said, for them to get that support, they need the backing of the ratings.
Yep,
so,
they do. So like you said, it goes back to sports being scripted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So on that note, we'll go ahead and go into your TikTok challenge for me.
Ooh. So I need to add you on TikTok. So
Okay.
I don't know how many challenges you've accomplished or...
Only 3 so far, and I have like 6 on the back burner.
Okay. What 3 have you accomplished? So that way I don't want to duplicate here.
Oh, no. Go ahead and...
Growing up, me and a couple of my childhood best friends, we would always... It's kind of back in style now. About 10 years ago, in our summers, we would always do the ping pong trick shots.
Oh, okay. I got nothing like that yet.
Okay, so I would just like to see... I mean, I'm sure I don't know if you've ever played BP, simple, get the ball in the cup.
Yeah.
But I'll show you, I'm sure you can look at most epic ping pong trick shots, but
Yeah.
I'd like to see you do some sort of trick shot.
Okay.
Red Solo cup, water, ping pong ball.
Got it.
Bounce it off the roof, off the ditto, and then into the cup. Some kind of trick shot would be sweet.
Okay. That sounds actually really fun.
And the thing is, you could get it in a minute, you could get it in a couple of days. We used to film,
Oh my God.
and some shots would take 3 days. Some shots you wouldn't believe we did in 3 minutes.
Dude, these trick shot people just buy like thousands of ping pong balls, sit on, and they're just like live on Instagram, just like, I'm going to get it sometime.
We used to have one ball.
Oh, man.
So one guy would be doing the shot, one guy would be courting, one guy would be getting the ball. We're talking throwing it off the second story, going to the park. It's stuff you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, no, I believe it because, now people do everything in abundance. But like you said before, it's just I got one because that looks more impressive. You have one ping pong ball.
Yep, that's all we had.
A guy has thousands of pong balls lying on the floor. It still looks good because it's such a good, amazing trick shot. But it's just like you're just throwing it at the point. You're not. You see them toss it without any skill.
Yeah,
They're just like eventually it's gonna go in.
Yeah, for me it was. You saw one ball. You didn't know if it took us 5 days or 5 minutes.
Exactly.
We made the shot. That's all that matters. That's
the 10-second clip.
That's all it was. And we put about, 20, 30 of those together. And every summer, every spring break, every winter break, would try to come out with a new one. So.
All right. I'll go ahead and I always say I'm going to do these, but I seriously, dude, I need a social media manager. Like, hey, do this right now.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I'll add that to my list and I will definitely tag you when I'm done with it.
Sweet.
All right. So on that note, we'll go ahead and take a quick break. All right. And we're back. And as we close out the show, as always, I do an inspirational quote of the week. And this week, it comes from Monroe Mann. He's an attorney, actor, comedian. And the quote is, "True networking does not mean meeting people. It means becoming the type of person other people want to meet." So that one was a good one.
I like it.
Meeting a new person. Oh, me meeting you.
That's
finally.
Right. Yeah.
So, and this is, like I said, this is the kind of podcast I'd love to do in the future, where it's just like meeting strangers. Obviously, we weren't strangers.
Right. I mean, not really, but in a sense, we've never met.
Exactly.
We knew about each other, but we've never met,
Face to
Guys,
face.
we're Pokemon lovers.
Yeah.
Literally.
Exactly. So,
I know. And now the more I sit here and think about like how many gifts we sent back and forth, and I was like, oh, he's the guy that would fill my decks, and I would send him shinies in return.
so any shout outs that you want to do?
Shout out to my wife. I don't know if she's watching, but she will be watching. Shout out to her. Shout out to, I guess, Big Daddy Drew.
All right, Zaddy Drew.
Drew's creeping on the cast, I guess.
All right. So as always, thank you for coming out. I really
thank you
appreciate
for having
it.
me. Yes.
Yeah, of course, anytime. And if you guys have anybody else that wants to come on the podcast, let me know. Go ahead and DM me on Instagram at ggmarklee, or send me an email at thequestionmarkpodcast@gmail.com. Just a reminder, I will be uploading this to Spotify. So I am behind like 4 shows. So you guys will get 4 shows, bulk, probably tomorrow, because I got nothing to do tomorrow. So just search the Question Mark Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. So on that note, I thank you guys for watching or listening. I appreciate you all. And especially in these times, I'm wishing everybody peace, love, and sanity.